Michelle Martin with Joy Michelle Realty Group, and I'm here today with Camille from Providence Title. Why do we need a title company? So what are some main reasons? So a lot of people don't even know what a title company is.
A lot of people
does.
don't. Yeah, they go through it and they still don't know even after they go and close at one.
Yeah.
So title insurance is basically going to protect the new owner from anything that happened previously to them owning the property.
Okay.
So heirs that come up out of nowhere, ex-husbands, ex-wives, liens on the property, that kind of thing. So the title insurance protects you from everything that happened in the past, which is kind of a good analogy would be like property insurance is going to protect you from anything that happens here forward. We protect you from whatever happens from the day you take ownership previous to that.
Okay.
So
what do ex-husbands? How do ex-husbands or ex-wives? How does that affect title?
Well, for example, we could. I just bought a house last first part of this year, and I've been divorced for 13 years. And we got to the day before closing, and the lender wanted to know where my husband was, and I thought, well, I want to know too because I didn't know I had one. But so apparently, it had come up on the documents at some point during the title search that I had an ex or a husband, and they wanted to make sure that he wasn't trying to claim property or claim ownership of the property I was purchasing, or that he could have any kind of negative effect on the purchase of this property.
Oh wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's one of the things that it can do. Is if you have an ex, they just have to clear it by providing a divorce decree or some kind of legal documentation so that he cannot have access to your property, or and he won't be liable or responsible for that.
Okay, so keep your divorce decrees handy
if
you're going to buy a house.
Hopefully you don't have too many of them laying around.
I hope not either. Don't ask me about that.
Okay, that's another segment.
That's right. And so is that the same thing as a lien? Lien's different.
Liens can be different. So liens are going to be like a mechanic's lien or a mowing lien or something that someone else has put a lien on the property to keep you from being able to transfer that property to some new owner. Okay, so for example, if I'm a construction person and I've remodeled your bathrooms and you never paid me, then I probably have a mechanic's lien on your house preventing you from selling it before I get paid.
Okay. So if there's some type of lien, what happens? How do y'all take care of that type of thing? Is that a buyer's responsibility, a seller's responsibility? Where do those liens, how do those get resolved?
They're all probably different situations. Most commonly, we will just clear up the lien, basically making sure that whomever is responsible to pay whomever that's paid, and we have clear documentation of that, so we know that nothing's going to come up later.
Okay. So I have a bunch of clients ask me, do they have back? I heard it's always a lot of people here. I heard they have back property taxes, and I don't want to be responsible for their taxes.
Yeah.
So that's something that y'all take care of.
Correct. Yeah, we're not going to close the property, or we're not going to close the transaction until everything is clear, because we don't want the new owner going in with old baggage.
Okay.
So if there is not, if there is a lien, it would just clear it up, and then we just all move on.
Okay. So do all liens get cleared up, or are there crazy cases?
Oh, there's always crazy cases. I'm trying to think of one particular example. I mean, liens have to be satisfied before, or at least some agreement has to be made before you can move forward. Okay. So usually it's a misunderstanding. Sometimes it's, I mean, out here in the country, we see all kinds of different things, like all kinds of things. I'm not even going to go there, but no, I mean, basically there just has to be agreements made. And the challenge is sometimes finding whomever put the lien on the property. We had one the other day that was over 30 years old. And so at that point, you look at the risk factor. And so a 30-year-old lien that was basically, I don't know, very low amount, $300 to $500.
Okay.
The likelihood of them coming back and trying to take the whole property is going to be very unlikely. So that's where your title insurance also protects you, because we're taking the risk as title. For if we issue a policy on it, then we're saying we feel pretty good that this is not going to come up and bite you later.
Okay. So a title policy that's an insurance, like an insurance policy.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's two policies. There's the insurance policy, or the owner's policy, and there's the lender's policy. And the reason there's two policies is because the lender's policy will protect the lender, or the bank, whomever loaned the money on it, as well as the owner.
Okay. And who's typically responsible for those two types of title policies?
Usually the seller has their part and the buyer has their part.
Okay.
Usually the seller typically picks the title company, but that's not always true. It's a negotiable point, but historically it's been the seller usually chooses the title company.
Okay, awesome. Are there some what's y'all's most common questions that title, because I think mostly y'all talk to the real estate agent and the lender, and y'all really don't have to talk to the buyer and the seller too much. I mean, y'all
Yeah.
still send, so what are some points during the home purchase that y'all need to contact the buyer or the seller and say, hey, we need this, or, oh, well, we talked about the title commitment also.
Okay.
That's one thing. And what does a title commitment do? What is that?
The title commitment is going to give you basically 4 parts, A, B, C, and D, and those four parts of the title policy are going to tell you kind of the findings about what you're going into, what you need to do to make sure that this transaction can close. You made a good point. I just forgot what it was though. Before, so in the beginning, when you talk about how the title company communicates with all the parties involved,
Yes.
we're basically the non-biased third party in the transaction.
Okay.
We don't have favor either way. We have to protect everyone's interest. And so in the beginning, what we do is with our team will reach out to the buyer and the seller. It's very important, and a lot of this goes to spam. So in fact, my own deal, I never filled it out because I never got it, but because it was in spam. But we start out by doing a buyer's form and a seller's form, so we get all the contact information and all that stuff from those parties, so that if there is something that comes up, we know who to call.
Okay.
But that's, being thorough is one of the most important things.
Okay.
Yeah.
About that. Okay. And so the title commitment, is that one of the main things? I mean, y'all do the title commitment, and that is kind of what shows where everything's at, and that's what y'all insure. Is
Correct.
that right?
Yeah, it's kind of like peeling back the covers or peeling back the layers of the onion and looking at what we're going to be working with. So, and the reason we like to open title for our clients when they list a property is so you can foresee any problems that may be coming at you. Death, wills that weren't probated.
Okay.
What else? There's ex spouses, whatever. There's kids. There's heirs. There's people that have passed away. There's people that we can't find. So
Okay.
a lot of that stuff. That's the importance of starting in the beginning. Is that you know what you're getting into,
Okay.
so you can troubleshoot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How about so deed restrictions? So do deed restrictions come with the policy? So clients always ask, what are the deed restrictions on this property? Is that something that the title company researches and gets the deed restrictions, or?
Let's see, with deed restrictions, there's, the county or the state, whatever imposes those.
Okay.
We just have to help them continue to make sure that information is available so that you know what you can or cannot do with the new property.
Okay.
So, a lot of times it's can't be commercial, or can't be mobile homes, or can't be, the restrictions are typically not close to a school or not close to this or that. So restrictions vary so much, it's hard to say.
Okay, yeah, there's so many different.
There's so many, yeah.
And I've seen one time before that, so restrictions, they last for so many years, and they say if somebody doesn't, I've seen this once, so if these deed restrictions expire, if all the people in the community don't fill out and start a petition or something like that, so, which one of my clients, there were some deed restrictions, and they actually were able to go ahead with what they planned because those deed restrictions had expired.
Well, that's nice.
It was crazy. We went through 3 title companies.
Really?
Yes.
What ended up happening?
They ended up omitting, or they ended up getting a policy that covered everything except, and I don't even know how that worked, but the clients were happy. They got what they wanted.
Well, clients are happy, everyone's happy.
I know. So I guess the title company can, y'all, because y'all have attorneys that work for you, or
we're owned by attorneys and they work for us as well. But we have, I know at Providence we have 9 different underwriters to write the policy, which is good because if you don't have as many underwriters, you don't have as many people who can, how some life insurance will cover you if you do this, but won't cover you with pre-existing conditions.
Okay.
So title insurance is kind of the same. We take the risk factor involved, and then we choose which underwriter would be best to serve that client or that
Okay.
property.
Okay. So there's so many details.
There's so many details. Yeah, there's so many.
Yes, and so I guess just so nobody knocks on your door, if they do, call me.
Call
If
Michelle.
I don't answer, call Camille,
Call
and
me. We'll
yes,
find her.
that's right. Don't sell your house with the help of myself or Camille. So
Exactly. Exactly.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. We'll see you soon. Thanks, Camille.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.